Hey, it's me, Kelly. I'm back because I had a baby. And I have stuff to tell you guys, I guess. Get you a drink, get you a snack. I am reunited with my energy drinks. So I am so happy. You have no idea. It was 4th of July and I had my first like alcoholic beverage as well, which was just one truly, like one singular truly. Um, didn't hit as hard as having an energy drink for the first time. Um, so that's where I'm at in life. But yeah, definitely get you a drink and a snack. I don't know if this is like a potential like triggering topic for a video, but I'm going to be talking about my induction experience at 38 weeks. And honestly, I have to say from the top of the video that everything like ended up being okay. Like I ended up being okay and baby ended up being okay. So everything like worked out. I didn't have any crazy, I guess you would say, complications, but there were a couple things that went wrong here and there. And so I will be talking about that. So this isn't gonna be like one of those stories where everything went perfect. And so if you're like pregnant right now and you're like gonna get induced or you might get induced and you're just trying to like look for like a comforting story, I'm not sure if this will be super comforting, but it is realistic, and I think that what happened to me is what happens to a lot of people. And I think I had like the most like common outcome, which is everything's fine, but it's a little gnarly for a minute there. So that's kind of like my story. I would encourage you guys to go back and watch my pregnancy tell-all if you want to kind of like see what happened before this. You don't have to if you just want like the induction experience. That's this basically. So I don't know if I should just get right into it. The baby is napping right now. I don't really want to say her name, but it is a girl. She is napping right now, so I'm like trying to like get through this, but also want to be as detailed as possible, I guess, for people who are going through this. Or people who are just nosy, I guess. I'm gonna give you a lot of information. Um, but yeah, so in my last video, it's kind of funny because I was talking about my swollen feet. And so I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video or not, but when I was 38 weeks, I think on the dot, it was like a Tuesday, I started getting a lot of back pain, and it was like cramping like my period. So when I have my period, it's always back pain, and like kind of like sciatica. So it's like back pain that goes like down to my legs and my thighs and even my toes is a problem. But it's like that radiating pain, and that's what I was feeling. And I know that a lot of people, when they go into labor, talk about feeling cramps like their period. And so since I was having this for I think like a couple of days at this point, I didn't know like what was happening. I know there's like false labor, and but it wasn't like Braxton Hicks, because for me that was just kind of like tightening, I guess, like at the like top of my stomach. It wasn't like back pain. So I didn't think it was that, but if anything I was like, okay, probably false labor. Or just, you know, the body getting ready because it has like a lot to do. Um, but that Thursday or Tuesday night, I really wasn't like feeling her move as much. And she was a pretty like mellow baby, I will say. It's obvious I'm a big bitch, right? Like I'm not ginormous, but I'm large. So they were having me do non-stress tests, I think from 37 weeks every week on. Um, and it kind of like took a lot to make her move. Like she'd just be chilling, but nothing wrong with her. Heart rate steady. They looked at the brain activity. I don't know how they do that, but steady, like signs of life, right? So nothing was really wrong with that. But that one day, I just really wasn't feeling her move very much. And so like that with the back pain, I was like, okay, no, we're not. Someone's truck is like kind of squeaking out a little bit in the parking lot. Like, sorry, but I'm gonna keep talking. So I went to triage basically that night because it was like 8 p.m. And then that is when they did another like non-stress test for like maybe like 20-30 minutes, and they saw that everything was pretty much fine. They gave me fluids, and then they told me that the back pain was probably her positioning, and they said she was sunny side up. And I'm gonna say they need a better term for that because it sounds cute, but it is not cute, and we'll get to that later. But that's what they were saying. And then the lady, she told me to maybe do some like exercises, like kind of like downward dog, like there's a program called Spinning Babies, like basically that, and hopefully get her into a better position, because she did check my cervix that night, and I think that was the first time I had it done. People are a little dramatic. I hate to say they're dramatic because everyone's experience is different and everyone's like pain tolerance is different. But I did the gestational diabetes test. Everyone hated that. It was fine. I did the group B strep. Everyone talked shit about that. I hated that. It was fine. The cervix like check though, not fine. Like, I think it's like if you're closed, that's just gonna hurt. And I was closed, and high, and just not about to have a baby anytime soon. So we thought. So yeah, so she was basically like, it's softening, but it's still closed and high, like everything like that. Okay. The only problem that night basically was like my blood pressure was pretty high. I think one of the numbers was 150. I don't know what either of them mean, but I know none of them was supposed to be 150. But I was very nervous that night as well. So that was kind of when I came in. And then when I left, it was lower, I think 120. One of the numbers. This is not good information because I really don't remember. But yeah, so she's like, she was comfortable enough to send me home though, basically. So I went home. And then 2 days later, I had my appointment, which was the 38-week appointment. It was supposed to be, I was supposed to go in, meet with my provider, which I did midwives, so my midwife, and then do the non-stress test after. And my man was gonna meet me, but he was coming from work, so he was running a little bit late. So I just thought I would go back and talk to my provider for like the 15 minutes or whatever, and then he could meet me for the non-stress test because that's a little bit longer, and I'm really just sitting there, so he could keep me company. Okay. The midwife also had like teased talking about an induction, like an elective induction, because I'm a big bitch, but it's elective because I didn't have any other stuff going on, basically. Okay. So I got in there and they did my blood pressure. That day I had a headache and it was throbbing on like both sides of my head. Kind of like a migraine. Like, I've had very few migraines in my life, but if it was, you know, a migraine, that's kind of what it would feel like for me. And then I was sweaty. Like, I was like sweaty. And I will say I was running hot, like in my pregnancy, which I'm not normally hot. I'm normally like room temperature. I don't know how to put it. I'm not cold, not hot. It's fine, right? But I was like sweating really bad. Yeah. And they checked my blood pressure. I already knew. I'm like, okay, this bitch gonna be high. And it was. So then the lady was like, I'm gonna check it again, basically. And then my midwife came in and she's like, listen, we were already gonna talk about induction for next week, but with this blood pressure, I think their criteria is like 2 high readings on separate occasions within the same week. I don't know. She was saying like, we don't want it to get much higher than this, looking at hypertension, and basically like, she wasn't fear mongering, but she was just like not loving those numbers, right? So she was like, you know, we could send you home, but then if this gets worse, then you have a problem. It wasn't like you're in danger, girl, but it was like, this could potentially get worse, basically, and we're already talking about induction, so let's just get it done. I was like, okay. And honestly, I was really tired of being pregnant at this point. So I was kind of okay with it, but I also was not ready to get induced that day. And neither was baby girl, okay? So luckily, my man was in the lobby. So I was like, okay, can I go get him, whatever? And they like were like, yeah. And then she said to somebody that my boyfriend was here, and I thought they were gonna go get him. I don't know, it was weird. And so I was like, his name is Justin. And like, it was really awkward and weird, but whatever. And they were like, okay, get up, bitch. So I went to go get him, and I'm like, they want to have her today. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, just come. And so then the midwife explained to my boyfriend basically like what was going on, and everything like that. He was like, what? He was like shocked, right? So then they're like, okay, so it's like actually really busy, but we will have a bed for you tonight. So if you want to come back in like an hour, yeah, we can get you in, just go home, get stuff, like whatever. I already had my bag packed, for the most part, because I seen a TikTok and it was like, if you're in like late pregnancy, just make sure your bag's packed because they could try and, induce you or like whatever. And I kind of knew. So I was just like, okay, whatever. So I have my stuff, but he didn't have his stuff. So we came home. He works outside. Okay, I ran out of space, but I'm back. So he needed a shower because he works outside. So I basically was just like throwing stuff in his bag. I grabbed a lot of snacks, which was good, but no need because when we got to the hospital, they basically told us, they're like, hey, your room's not ready yet, but you can sit in the lounge and, chill out, whatever. And my man, he kept eating the snacks. They had goldfish and like Scooby snacks. And he kept, going at them. We probably had, and then they had ginger ales, and he was pounding them back like nobody's business. So yeah, the hospital was really nice. It felt like a hotel. It was like, if you gotta give birth in, I guess I could say it. I don't know. I'm gonna shout them out. If you gotta give birth in Fargo, North Dakota, Essentia, like they're really nice there. Okay. So anyways, so we get there, we're waiting, whatever. We had to wait for like an hour, but honestly it was really not a big deal. Shit happens, whatever. But then we get to my room and they had to do the IV. This is where it gets interesting. So I am not diagnosed yet. I have a couple videos on my channel talking about like this mystery diagnosis, because before I got pregnant I was like going through just like weird like health stuff, where I couldn't really figure out what was wrong with me. Went to like multiple doctors, they couldn't figure out what's wrong with me. But now it's looking like, what is it called? It's called Ehlers down low, hypermobility. It's like trending, whatever, but you can go back to my videos. Like, but someone was talking about it, searched it up, seen a lot of pictures of myself, with the like hypermobile stuff. Definitely have that. And one of the symptoms is, that some people have, not everybody has though. Okay, I'm gonna make that clear. Is it's hard for them to have their blood drawn, because the veins be moving. Yeah, my veins be moving. So they'll feel like they get it, but then they don't. It goes away. It's called rolling veins. And so I'm going to start seeking out a diagnosis again. When I got pregnant, I was just really not trying to figure out what the problem was anymore because I had other fish to fry, bigger fish to fry. I feel like I'm on Love Island. They're always getting the expressions wrong. But yeah, so bigger fish to fry. But yeah, this came back around to haunt me, my weird ailments and symptoms, the veins. So they couldn't get it, basically. They tried everywhere. I'll insert photos, but it was really, really a lot. They tried like all my arms, everything. And it was, I think one person tried, then another person tried, then another person tried. Their hospital policy is you can try twice, and then if you don't get it, you gotta move on to the next person. So I finally got to the big boss, which is they're like, okay, we gotta call in SWAT. And I was like, okay. I knew I had bad veins, but I didn't know it was this bad. I was also really swollen too, though. But still, they had to call in SWAT, which I don't know what it stands for. They told me, but I don't know. So the lady comes up from downstairs, and she basically does the IV with an ultrasound in my arm. She gets it in. They do blood work. The blood work guy actually got it right away. And he was like on standby just waiting because they were supposed to do the IV, then do the blood work. And so he's just hanging out like, hey. So he did that. But that one's like a smaller needle, I guess. So, yeah. So they blew through all my veins. Then I get the IV in. And later on, the IV went bad or something like that. They had to remove it and do it again later on the next day, I'm pretty sure. But at that point, they already knew the drill, so they got the SWAT back up to take care of it. But yeah, it was really unpleasant. That took maybe an hour or 45 minutes or something like that. It took way too long. So that's why I will continue seeking out this diagnosis, just so I can get it on my chart, and so that next time this happens, I don't know if I want more kids. If I do though, they can bring up the SWAT team right away for my veins, like so bad. Okay. So after that, I think they administered Cytotec around like 7, and unpleasant, not great, because we're still closed at this point. Cervix is closed, it's high, it does not want none of that. And she does another like cervical like check, not fun, and I'm like screaming the whole time. It's so bad. Normally I'm like, oh no, it's okay, it's fine, but like I was hooting and hollering, honestly, and like as I should, really. That was really uncomfortable, so they do that. And then yeah, I do get some like cramping. It's the back though. It's the back. And I'm trying to chill, but it's not really working. Luckily, as I mentioned earlier, I do watch Love Island, so we put that on, trying to chill with it. Ate some food. I think my man brought food from home. He made like Alfredo or something. So I was eating that. And then they come back at midnight to put more in. Still not open, still very unpleasant. And then I tried to sleep. Don't sleep. The chair, or well, it's basically a chair, but like the hospital bed was like very uncomfortable and hard to sleep in because it had like a crack in the middle. And where that dip was, like my back like could not get comfortable. And it wasn't just the back cramping at this point, it was like my like normal back pain. So this is another reason why I'm seeking out that diagnosis, is because I have a lot of pain when sitting down. I don't have pain when standing up, and I don't have pain when laying down, but I have pain when sitting. So it has to do with like those, I don't know, muscles, joints, ligaments, something. Yeah. And so I was really feeling that because I'm more in like a sitting position than a laying position. I can't lay flat because hello, I'm pregnant. Even on my side, it was just really not doing it because of the dip in the bed. And then also they have monitors on me. And so if I moved, like they would come off, and then the nurse would have to come in and like change them, and it was just like a lot. At one point, my man got in the bed with me. And I actually did sleep after that, but they came in and they laughed at us because like you're not really supposed to do that, but whatever. And then they like went right on out. So then the next morning, I think what they did was a bunch of people were actually giving birth. I'm not there yet. They kind of like paused this little experiment, I guess. And I don't think they gave me any more until like 11. Um, yeah, because like not much was happening. But other people were giving birth, so they kind of put me on the back burner. At this point, my blood sugar, or not blood sugar, blood pressure is fine. I didn't have a single other high read after that. I don't know what the deal was, but yeah, so my blood pressure was like literally fine the whole time I was in the hospital. Um, so fine that people were asking why I was there. But it's all good, right? I think it's better to be cautious than not cautious in situations like this. So, like, I really don't blame them for inducing me, but I will say that my body was not ready, and my blood pressure did end up being fine, um, but it could have gone a different way. Um, so, honestly, I feel very whatever about the whole situation. Yeah. So they finally like administered it again, and then my parents are there at this point, so they're trying to like talk to me and stuff, but I really don't want to talk about anything because like I am cramping and I am very uncomfortable at this point. Um but nothing's really happening. Like it doesn't feel like anything's happening. Like I'm not progressing. We're not ready for Pitocin, we're not ready for any of that. Like we're just literally chilling at like zero centimeters, literally, honestly, like nothing, right? So yeah, and then they leave. We have dinner, watch our show, and then yeah, so around like 7 o'clock, everything's happening at 7. Oh, that's because it's their shift change. Okay. Um, at 7 they start Sarvadil. Or no, I think honestly, I think me and my man took like a bath or a shower or something like that. Well, okay, why I say something like that? Their bath was huge, and like I was contracting at this point, um, so he was like helping me get clean, um, and he basically, yeah, it wasn't like a full bath, but it wasn't like I don't know. We were just in the tub, basically. And then got out, and then I think we did Cervidil, which is like an insert up your cooch, and that got things going. So took it around 7, immediately started having like back-to-back contractions, and it was back labor. It was all in my freaking back, and it hurt a lot. The night before, they offered me a sleeping aid to go to sleep, Ativan, but I didn't take it, just because honestly, I forgot to ask again, and then by the time it was like, I don't know, it was like almost time for morning, and I didn't want to be groggy the next day, even though the way things went, it would have been fine. But yeah, so that night I was like, yeah, let me get that. Bad idea. So I reacted very poorly to Ativan. I had never had it before. And it gave me sleep paralysis. Not only that, it made me very emotional, and I am gonna blame the Ativan for this because I was just crying like uncontrollably during this time, and then when I was off of it, I wasn't really crying at all, even though like it was a very emotional time, like being in the hospital having a baby. I think it was the Ativan more so that brought on the tears. I was crying at everything. I was crying because I couldn't get comfortable. I was crying because my man was so nice. I was crying because the monitors kept coming off, and I was afraid that the nurses would be mad at me. I don't think they were. And I was crying at like the music I was listening to. Like it was just like crying. The sleep paralysis was interesting. So basically, sleep paralysis, if you ever had it or if you never had it, is basically like you're awake, or no, you're asleep, but it's like you're awake, like you see your surroundings and stuff. Um, and so I looked around the room and like I swear to God, I thought my man was making like troll dolls and like selling them on Etsy from the hospital. And then I came to and he was literally just chilling there on his iPad. I was like, oh no, I'm not taking it ever again. Luckily it wore off. And then around 4 a.m., I'm like finally trying to go to sleep again, and it's like literally like a pop. My water broke, so it was like I don't. It was so weird. It was like it was a sound. Some people say they hear like a pop. Some people don't, but I did, and it like kind of like jolted me like awake. Um, but it wasn't like gushing. Like this is way too much information. It wasn't like gushing until I stood up, and when I stood up, like it hit the ground. Like we're leaking now at this point. So I take off the monitor and I go to the bathroom, and then like I basically like confirm what happened. I come back out. I tell my man my water broke. He's like, your water's right over there, because I had like a jug of water, and he was not hearing me. I'm like, no, my water broke. And he's like, oh. And then he like went and he got excited and texted everybody at 4 in the morning. I'm like, sir, do we really need to be doing all this? Whatever. So then we paged like the nurse, and she comes in, and yeah, she basically is like, yep, blah, blah, blah. She checks my cervix again. We're only at 1. I'm in pain. I'm screaming. I'm crying. I am making an event out of it. And they asked if I wanted to get the epidural. It was really early, but I didn't care because I just wanted to sleep at this point. So I say yeah. Now I'm terrified to get the epidural at this point because I had such a hard time with the IV. I thought I don't want to get botched. But I was really in so much pain at this point. Like I felt like I was getting sawed in half. So I was like, nah, just do it, I guess. Whatever. If I get botched, it is what it is. But at least we'll try it, right? So they come in, they give it to me. It wasn't that bad, and I think she got it, but I had to be in like that really specific position. I think if you're pregnant, you probably know you have to be like a seat, you have to be like really still. And that's what they were like getting at me for, but I was having back-to-back contractions at this point from the cervidil. And it was really hard to stay still, but luckily I did it. It took maybe like half an hour for them to place it, just because we had to keep stopping. But once I got it, oh my gosh, yeah, it worked well until it didn't, and we will get to that. But it just, yeah, everything numb, good to go to sleep, because I needed that sleep so bad. So I honestly slept from probably like 5 to like 11, which was really good. But while I was sleeping, my blood pressure went really low, and I peeped it. At one point, the lowest number was 30. Like I said, I don't really know what these numbers mean, but I know none of them are supposed to be 30. And so they told me that, yeah, my blood pressure had gotten really low. They're trying to get it back up now. But for hours, it was really low. And I think I was just kind of like zoned out because my blood pressure was so low. I just remember laying there, like really, like chilling. And they said that the baby ended up being in distress, but they didn't tell me at all, which is good because I would have freaked out. But they gave me medication to bring it back up, and it ended up being fine. And apparently that's one of the like side effects that you can get from epidural, is a drop in blood pressure. I think it's common, and I think they usually get under control, but that is something to know. So yeah, but it did make me chill the fuck out, which is good. And then I progressed really fast. So I went from basically 1 or 0 to 10 by 2 p.m. So yeah, so it was like 4 a.m. to 2 p.m. yeah, we went from 0 to 10. That was crazy because they checked me. I was starting to have back pain again around like 1 or 2. Um, and I was basically like, yeah, better up that epidural because I'm feeling this. And they're like, no, like, so it can't like cover everything. Basically, is what they were trying to tell me, and that there will be some like breakthrough like pain. But oh my god, it was ridiculous. It was like the sawed in half feeling again. They did end up upping it, I think. So for the first hour of pushing, it wasn't that bad. But I was still feeling it and I was not happy. And then the second hour, third hour, I felt that shit. And I don't know if I was even feeling all of it. Probably not, I guess. But I was able to move my legs and like move myself. So I don't know. And they kept commenting on my muscles, like my muscle tone or whatever. They're like, you have good control of your muscle tone, something like that they were saying. And I'm like, yeah, because this ain't doing shit. But maybe it was, I don't know. But the thing is, okay, so for the pushing, they wanted me to do purple pushing, which is basically like you breathe in and then you push, but while you push, you don't breathe. And it was like really fucking me up. And I will say, I was getting in my head about it, about when to breathe. So I was focusing more on the breathing than the pushing. And that's just kind of how my brain is. Like, I don't know. I have ADHD and like, it's just, if there's too many instructions happening, I like get overwhelmed. I like don't understand. I get confused. And there was definitely way too many instructions happening. And it puts me into like freeze basically. I don't think I ever got a hang of it either. And yeah, so we kept like switching positions. We did on the back, like the classic, like in the movies version. We did hands and knees. We did on the side, which I hated. We did sitting up, like I was in a chair, which was fine. But I just felt like nothing was happening. And I was getting like really like defeated. And yeah, at one point they told me that I could just take a break, and like basically like labor down, which is like you just basically wait to see if she descends a little bit more, because I think she was still high, was the problem. Like she wasn't in a great position, even though we were like dilated completely. Because it was early. It was 38 weeks. She thought her deadline was July 7th, so she was going to take till July 7th or longer. She didn't know about any of this June 27th business, okay? That's what the way I'm looking at it was. She was just really, truly not ready. And I also hate when people tell me a certain time and then they move it up. Like, I'm not ready. And now you're making me look like I'm the late one. Like, no. You told me a certain time. So we told her a certain time and she took it seriously. So yeah, she was not ready. Position was bad, all the things. And she was sunny side up, which means she's face forward, puts a lot of pressure on the spine, which is what I was feeling. And yeah, so we do this whole thing for 3.5 hours, way too long. And I'm over it. And yeah, they're like, you're doing good. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, it was just like really bad, negative time. They're like, yeah, because I was saying, I'm like, it just doesn't feel like I'm doing anything. Like, it hurts, like, whatever. And then they tell me that they're going to consult with the doctor, because it's midwives, but whatever. They're going to go consult with the doctor and see what he says and see if we're going to do an intervention like vacuum or forceps. And they said they don't want to do a C-section because at this point she is low enough to like come out, but like, and doing a C-section would be dangerous with how low she was at this point. And so that's kind of like last resort. We don't want to do that. So we want to avoid that. So we're going to see about those two other things. So then they come back and they're like, yeah, he said that he's going to try with the vacuum. At this point, I'm just like, get her out, truthfully. But they told me, they're like, but you still have to like push really hard. And yeah, the vacuum's really not gonna help with that. Like, you still have to like do the work, basically. The more you know. So it's not like a big like vacuum like suction thing that's just gonna take her out for you. You have to push while they do it, and it's like a plunger more so. So yeah. So he comes in, a bunch of people come in. It's like a party in there at this point. And they tell me that if the suction comes off more than 2 times, I think they have to go to C-section. So we don't want that. It came off once. But other than that, it was like 4 like sets of pushing, I would say. And they finally get her out. Now, honestly, I think I did shit. I definitely did. And I was really embarrassed. But then now thinking about it, they were probably thinking more about like the giant head coming through my vagina than they were my little shits of the Mediterranean bowl or whatever the hell I had the night before. But yeah, I was a little embarrassed, not gonna lie. And this is why there's no vlog, okay? It's just a story time because that was very humbling, all right? Oh, also, just so you know, once you get the epidural, like, you can't control what goes on below you. I'm always clenching my booty cheeks, holding in my farts or whatever, but they opened my legs to like check me, and it went like, it was so bad. All right, that's inappropriate. Anyways, so Shat did my big one, and then she came out. Okay, when she came out, they held her up, and she was very hairy. She had like a full, well, she still does, she has a full head of hair, and it looked like she had a wig on. Like, it was, yeah, it was a lot of hair, and she's just looking like all confused, like what the fuck happened, and I'm looking at her. And then they put her on me, and she's not making a ton of noise, but she was obviously very much alive, so I was not worried or anything. And then they took her to like stimulate her a little bit more, and then they gave her back pretty quickly. So honestly, I will say, after the whole pushing for 3.5 hours and then vacuum situation, everything was good and normal with that. We got to do skin to skin. And yeah, she was just like a perfect little baby. Like, honestly, yeah, it was a lot of drama, but in the end, we got the good outcome that we wanted. So that's like honestly the birth story. Yeah, and then my man got to hold her. We stayed in the hospital for 2 days, I think, after that. Oh yeah, also they asked if I wanted to see the placenta. I said no. I said no so fast. And it was the same with like my wisdom teeth. They're like, you want to see them? No. I don't want to see anything that came out of my body except for my baby. And like, that's literally it. I was gonna say something else about that. Oh, they just took that thing out. I didn't have to like push deliver it. Like, they just took it out. I don't know how that works. And then they did say that I tore, but it was like a 1st-degree tear, 2 stitches, like not a big deal. And they kept saying like, oh, you only tore a little bit. I guess they were expecting her to tear my shit up, but she really didn't. Yeah, honestly, preparing to give birth, like, I was doing all the things. I was drinking raspberry leaf tea and pineapple juice and eating dates and like all that. Don't know if it helped because, yeah, like I said, it wasn't like a her just sliding out moment. But I did get induced, so I don't know. Jury's out on that. You can do all the things and something could go wrong and it's not even going to benefit you as much. And that's kind of the case for me, honestly. So I don't know. Save your money on the tea. I don't really know. Things are gonna happen how they're gonna happen, and it really is what it is. But okay, what I do think helped me was working out. Working out did not help me give birth, but it helped during recovery. Yeah, honestly, I'm not at my goal weight. 100% not, but I was on a fitness journey when I got pregnant, and I'm back down to the same weight I was. Which is crazy because I just had a baby a week ago. So I think that helped me like snap back pretty fast. And then I was up walking around like 2 hours after I had her. I'm trying to keep it like easy and not overdo it. But I think that did help. So if you're thinking about like exercise or working out, I would say that's probably worth it. But like the dates, the pineapples, the tea, like all that, I don't know. Okay, what else? So yeah, so we did that, and then they showed me like all the postpartum stuff. The selection that my hospital has wasn't great. They had like the mesh underwear and like little pads. They had like the witch hazel pads there. They had like a Perry bottle. But like the quality was pretty bad of like the pads and stuff. So if you're gonna bring your own, bring your own. I brought my own. I used some of theirs and then I used some of mine. I did the always overnight like postpartum like diapers. I hate it. But those came in clutch, and then I had their pads as well. The always pads, the like postpartum, like the expensive ones, low key. But I liked them because I was peeing, man. Like I really was. Like, yeah. What they don't tell you is that they talk about like the postpartum, like the first shit is really bad. I was warned, so I did bring a stool softener. The hospital will have it if you don't bring it, because they offered it to me, and I'm like, no, I have it. It's all good. And then the like peeing after is literally you just sit on the toilet, and it just comes out. But I'm not like using the muscles. I don't know. It's weird. Like my brain's not conducting this. Like my body is just peeing. And then I noticed that like when I laughed, like I would pee. And I know they say it's like that forever when you have a baby, but it was like really bad. So it's like a pelvic floor issue, I'm pretty sure. So it was nice to have those like good pads for the like incontinence issues. Ew, I hate it. Humbling. It's very humbling. But yeah. So just prepare for that whole situation. If you laugh a lot, very much good luck to you, because I laugh a lot and yeah, it just be coming out. Sorry about it. The bleeding though, it wasn't really bad for me. Like I had no clots or anything. But I'm only a week out, you guys. So I think I'm gonna do a whole video about postpartum experience for me, but I'm only a week out, so I don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna wait till I'm out of the postpartum period to talk to you guys about that a little bit more. But yeah, really not bleeding so much. Just stuff's going on down there. That's all you need to know, basically, right now, till I do my tell-all. But yeah, so then a bunch of people were being born that day, so they told us that we had to go downstairs to a room in pediatrics, basically, and that's where we spent the rest of the 2 days. The room was not as nice down there, but the nurses were really nice. The nurses upstairs were also really nice, like the ones who like helped me deliver. They were the like best, honestly. So yeah, I do recommend that hospital, Essentia in Fargo, if you're in Fargo. Yeah, they were really good. And yeah. Downstairs they're really good as well. I had no problems with really anyone at this hospital. Like the vein stuff was annoying, but other than that, yeah, no problems. Everyone was really nice to me, even when they were blowing my veins out. Yeah, and we got a healthy baby. We brought her home on Monday. And we've really just been vibing. She's been pretty good. I think she's having like some stomach issues, so she is a little cranky at times, but I do get it. Other than that, she's sleeping good, eating good, chilling. So that's my birth story. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot. If you're getting induced, just be prepared that you're gonna be there for a long ass time. And it is harder, I think, honestly, to try and give birth when your baby's not really ready or in position. But if the pros are outweighing the cons there, just do it. Yeah, because it's not worth risking your health as well, or your babies, if they tell you to get induced and they tell you your reasons and your risks and everything. I don't know, listen to them, and try and do what's best basically for you in your situation. And that's really all I have to say about that. But thanks for watching. I post semi-regularly, not super regularly, but occasionally. I'm always back. So be on the lookout. All right. Bye.